Dumela Mogai, so if you think you know me, you can call me Stoan. Me ga o nkitse sentle, o tla mpitsa maila go khotlwa marata go tshajwa diludi ya dipoa. What I like doing in my spare time, I like accumulating information and knowledge. How does gravity work? What is the theory of relativity? So, yeah, man, just the accumulation of knowledge most of the time. I think my biggest pet peeve is a lack of organization, man. When, especially directions, because I grew up, herding animals on my grandmother's farm when I was a young boy. And you would use a rock and a tree and a certain path to orientate yourself. I'm a bit obsessive compulsive when it comes to puzzles and how things fit in strategy. So if someone comes just shooting in the dark, I can't handle it. My most annoying habit has to be my know-it-all quality. I grew up, my mother bought me books instead of toys when I was like 5 years old. I could read before I got to grade 1. I think sometimes I find it hard to suffer fools. When someone is talking, man, I just can't let it go. I can't let it go. I'm definitely over being a celebrity, just being famous, people screaming, I want fame with a purpose, and that's why even in the new direction I'm going business-wise, I'm building myself as a social entrepreneur, where I'm doing social work within my community, building my community. I think one can get wealthy building communities and doing that. So that's what I want to be celebrated for, not just for acting and doing art. My number one inspiration in my life has to be my mother. She raised me, made a lot of sacrifices to give me the best education she could at that time. And, she did it without a man. If she could do it back then with those measly resources, I think if I take some leaves out of the book that she wrote, I can do a lot better than her. And my girls, my daughters, are also turning into my greatest inspiration as I'm seeing them mature and, becoming their own people. Ndiyakwazi ukuthetha isiXhosa njekancinci ngoba inkosikazi yendlini ngumXhosa. So ingane zami abantwana bami ngamaXhosa bonke or Batswana amaXhosa, they say mother tongue. Okay, Nezulu, I can hear a little bit, speak and communicate. Obviously Setswana, ek kan die oorspronklike Afrikaans praat want ek is van dit Noordwes af. Hablo poco español, mi nombre es Stoan. Hasta de la victoria siempre. Oh man, what makes Sefako interesting, for me anyway, personally, is the fact that there's a lot of parallels between Sefako and Stoan. His background, his ethnicity, his tribe, where he's from, Batswaneng. For me, he's made out of pieces of a lot of guys that I know, including myself. And it's been interesting to try and take him away from that goody-two-shoes that they wrote down to somebody who's more human, where it's not all his qualities that are likable. And I've picked that up also from the support base, the audience, especially the ladies. I'm seeing that the idea of this guy who's going to come in, disturb and rock the boat, Naledi le Qhawe, straight. This guy is ambitious. I mean, Sefako is an ambitious guy. He's been doing good all his life, but now he finds himself caught up in a situation that is not of his own doing. So he's a bit of a powerful piece on the chessboard, but he's not the king or the queen, but he's somewhere around, he's like a knight piece. All of us find ourselves in places where a little bit of ambition and circumstance gets you into places where at the end of it, when you look around after a while, after a storm, we put out, how did I get here? This guy finds himself just falling down a slippery slope where his life now is intertwined in all this drama that he was never really about. And he finds himself having to pick up his weight and be part, you know, and carry his weight in this soup that is developing. Sefako is the better suitor for Naledi because he's genuinely attracted to her. There's less of the dangers that are presented by Qhawe to Naledi. I mean, when you are in the family, it is Kima Mafia talk. So anybody in the, you know, your enemies could use anybody in order to get to you. There's just more of a steady environment and a safe environment for Naledi with Sefako on so many different aspects. His financial standing, his social standing, and also the fact that he actually feels her, you know, and he's attracted to her and pursues her, you know, in a way that is more appropriate for someone rather than the arranged thing. And I think that's key. You know, if it was just arrangement, then he wouldn't be good for her. I think, you know, what makes the story special and, you know, bringing in the Tswana character and the Tswana culture is that out of all the tribes of Africa, Botswana are the ones that, you know, there are many tribes that occupy land that has a lot of wealth underneath it. But very few of those tribes, even globally, have direct beneficiation of those minerals. So the only other powerful people that are believable and genuine that you could bring on and say, okay, here's a group of people, they have resources that can rival these guys, but from a totally different sector, are the Botswanas. It just brings this new spice. You have the contrast of the taxi industry with the wealth of the Tswana royalty out in Rustenburg. When you bring those two worlds together, and now you bring romance and jealousy and competition and rivalry into it. It's such a potent mix for drama. You can't help but slow down and look and go, yo, and then you move on. I want to thank everybody for welcoming me to this beautiful family. Yeah, The Wife Season 3 and the Showmax Online family. I hope that into the future, lerato la rona le tla nna le le bothito le uba uba go ya go ile. Mwah, pula.